Hi there, I'm Joe Smiles from Fat Loss S.O.S, and if you're new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell button, hit the like button and select all so that you can receive all of my notifications and make any comments you like. And yeah, I run an online permanent fat loss course called Fat Loss S.O.S. It shows you how to change your fat gaining situations into fat losing situations, or turn your fat gaining lifestyle into a fat losing lifestyle. It focuses on my psychological and mindset techniques to help you lose permanent fat loss. You've got to get away from this diet and food centric model of weight loss and focus more on a habits, behavior, cognitive and lifestyle techniques centric model of permanent fat loss. My channel is about education and drug-free training and health and fitness, so please watch until the end of all my videos to get all the education information. Today's video is about how to reduce muscle soreness after training. I've included 20 studies. Hopefully I'll squeeze it into less than 10-minute video if my dyslexia cooperates with me. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Okay, how to best reduce muscle soreness. This includes 20 studies, so I'll try and go through it as fast as possible. You can always stop the video and read the notes if you want to have some more details. The main question is there any scientific evidence for therapies or supplements to reduce delayed onset of muscle soreness, DOMS, versus active recovery or working out again for reducing exercise, muscle soreness and DOMS? It's critiquing and debunking misinformation by the likes of people like Andrew Huberman, silly recovery protocols, and other people, etc., who promote supplements and therapies that just do not have any evidence behind them. But let's go through this as quick as we can. Okay, so what is DOMS, or muscle soreness? It's a perception of strenuous, unaccustomed tasks to mainly eccentric exercise, and you normally get stiffness and pain on palpation when you're touched. You have loss of range of motion temporarily, loss of flexibility, force production and mobility. There's no definitive evidence of what causes DOMS. It's inconclusive that unaccustomed microscopic muscle damage to the muscle fibers triggering inflammatory responses. There's another option, microscopic muscle damage leading to inflammation, releasing pro-inflammatory markers like cytokines make the nerve ending sensitive. That's inconclusive. Lactic acid and metabolic byproducts build up in the muscles. That's inconclusive because lactic acid is cleared relatively quick after exercise. Temporary muscle swelling, putting pressure on nerve endings, contributing to muscle soreness. That's inconclusive. And the nervous system, including the peripheral nerves, play a role in perception of DOMS, which changes the nerve sensitivity and pain modulation, influencing how we perceive and experience muscle soreness, and that's inconclusive as well. There's 4 types of metabolic stress associated with DOMS. Satellite cells are stem cells found in muscle tissue located between the outer membrane of muscle fibers called the sarcolemma, and they contribute to muscle repair and regeneration in response to muscle injury and muscle-induced damage and other stimuli that lead to muscle damage. When muscle fibers experience damage and stress, satellite cells become activated and proliferate, meaning that they divide and form new cells, and upon activation they differentiate into myoblasts, which are immature muscle cells, and they fuse then to the existing muscle fibers or with each other, incorporating themselves into muscle fibers to repair and replace damaged muscle tissue. This process is essential for muscle growth hypertrophy. And then the second metabolic stress associated with DOMS is inflammatory cells and the immune system. So you have neutral cells, macrophages and T lymphocytes and mast cells. They're all white blood cells, and they defend against foreign objects, foreign invaders and infections. Neutrophils account for 40 to 70% of all white blood cells, and they're produced in the bone marrow and released into the bloodstream to fight against infections. Macrophages fight bacteria, viruses, fungi, and dead and damaged cells. And T lymphocytes, also known as T cells, they also produced in the bone marrow, and they fight abnormal cells. And mast cells prevent excessive or harmful immune reactions. You have vascular cells, pericyte cells found in the walls of capillaries, and they're involved in vascular development, stability, regulation, and wrapping around endothelial. Okay, weight train your sore muscle groups again to reduce muscle soreness and increase muscle protein synthesis. In natural athletes or trainees, muscle protein synthesis lasts around 36 to 48 hours. So this is your turnover of protein usage to heal and grow and recover muscle damage. Steroid users, their muscle protein synthesis usually lasts around 7 to 10 days, so they can heal and grow muscle with much less volume and less training frequency per week. Therefore, natural athletes and trainees need to increase their muscle group training frequency and volume by training the same muscle group every 2 or 3 times to keep muscle protein synthesis turning over to capitalize on strength and hypertrophy. Retraining a sore muscle group increases blood oxidation and nutrients and decreases soreness by increasing flexibility. Retraining a sore muscle group increases glucose and amino acids to the muscles, essential for repairing recovery. Retraining a muscle group increases blood flow and also aids the removal of waste products and metabolic byproducts. And retraining a muscle group improves the transport of anti-inflammatory substances such as cytokines, antioxidants, and to the muscles, reducing inflammation and discomfort. And retraining muscle groups increases muscle temperature, which improves muscle flexibility and reduces stiffness associated with DOM. So retraining muscle groups is probably the best thing you could do. Creatine and exercise muscle soreness. A meta-analysis showed the importance of creatine ingestion on sarcopenia, which is a reduction in muscle size and strength as you get older. Resistance training increased lean tissue mass by 1.2 grams and strength when people were taking creatine. It increases glucose uptake and therefore glycogen resynthesis, and it facilitates calcium reuptake and into the muscle cells, and that helps with muscle contraction, and it also increases satellite cell proliferation. It reduces inflammatory markers and oxidative stress. It also increases muscle protein synthesis, reduces leucine oxidation, which is an essential amino acid needed to increase muscle size and strength. Creatine has anti-inflammatory and anti-catabolic properties which help muscles and bone growth to recover from exercise. It has a paradoxical effect, creatine, on muscle damage. According to a meta-analysis, creatine significantly lowers DOMS 48 hours to 90 hours after exercise. However, DOMS markers significantly increase with the use of creatine 24 hours after exercise. This is called the paradoxical effect of creatine, and it minimizes DOMS post-exercise as an acute training response, although this trend is reversed in chronic training response. Passive low-frequency surface neuromuscular electrical stimulation versus low-intense exercise versus rest days. There's some evidence to suggest that active recovery, 3 to 5 minutes of low-intensity exercise, may be more effective than total rest, although it's not always practical to do this with time and effort and fatigue. This passive low frequency surface electrical stimulation makes the muscles contract, and it creates an intermittent electrical stimuli to the muscles. It might help to reduce blood flow. However, there's no evidence to show that it works as a recovery strategy, and meta-analysis reports that it has mixed or no evidence versus passive or active recovery. There's no additional benefits found to muscle stimulus, electrical stimulus for DOMS, or lowering blood lactate or heart rate. So if you do get any improvements, it's placebo. There's several studies found no evidence for the electrical stimulation, even lower benefits. Post-exercise activity recovery involving the same muscle groups that were active during the fatiguing exercise. So mountain canoeists and football players, active recovery of the lower limbs was more effective removing muscle fatigue. 20 minutes of active recovery has been found to be more efficient fatigue recovery than active recovery using the same muscles that weren't used in the exercise. It suggests that for optimal muscle recovery following fatiguing exercise, that you should just do some light exercise for your muscles or take a rest day. The population study for the football players and mountain canoeists were not able to extrapolate to other sports disciplines, so further studies are needed for this. In other studies, though, comparing low-intensity cycling, so active recovery, and cold water immersion doesn't alter leukocyte inflammation or cytokine expression in muscle after resistance training. So cold water immersion and active recovery doesn't do anything. Physical activity, immune system, and reduce muscle soreness. During vigorous exercise, macrophages occur in parallel with enhanced recirculation of immunoglobulins, anti-inflammatory cytokines, neutral cells, basically all the white blood cells. Therefore, training boosts your immune system. So high exercise training workloads and competition increases immune dysfunction, inflammation and muscle damage. Therefore, DOMS can be worse after competitions. Up to 18% of athletes, particularly female athletes in endurance events, often get skin issues, digestive tract problems, urinary tract infections, acute illness, respiratory tract problems with competition. Intense exercise causes systemic inflammation. However, systemic inflammation is caused by obesity, including arthritis, atherosclerosis, coronary vascular disease, chronic kidney disease, liver disease, metabolic disease, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, sarcopenia, arthritis, bone resorption, osteoporosis, and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, dementia, depression, and other types of cancers. But exercise tends to boost the immune system, so it reduces the systemic inflammation, although it causes temporary inflammatory biomarkers. Monitor for overtraining and overreaching by looking at, in case you get ill, or lower the intensity when you're ill but don't stop training. And if your performance levels start to decrease, then you're overreaching or overtraining. Avoiding alcohol and BMI, body mass index, has the strongest effect on the C-reactive protein, followed by gender. So inflammation, alcohol, having a high BMI, being female, smoking, these all create and mediate carbohydrate. Post-exercise reduces inflammation and stress hormones. Taking sugar-dense fruits like bananas with water is associated with higher plasma glucose levels and insulin levels, and this lowers plasma stress hormones like cortisol, diminishes fatty acid mobilization and oxidation. It reduces inflammatory markers including interleukin 6, interleukin 8, neutrophils, monocytes, cytokines. A high proportion of ingested polyphenols from fruits, vegetables and other plants pass through the intestine unabsorbed, where the bacterial degradation produces similar phenolalates that can reabsorb into the circulation. Therefore, it creates a biotransformed gut diverse phenolates circulate throughout the body, exerting bioactive effects that are important, including anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antioxidant, antioxidative and immune system signaling effects. So carb supplementation and fiber is most effective for minimizing immune disturbances during exercise recovery. So exercise, blood glucose concentrations after exercise, blunts release of stress hormones after exercise. So carb ingestion after exercise helps to diminish potential cumulative immunodepression over consecutive days of exercise. So note, more studies are needed to examine whether post-exercise protein influences immune function for recovery. So the key thing is taking carbs after training, not protein. Okay, different strategies for DOMS: cryotherapy, stretching, anti-inflammatory drugs, ultrasound, electrical currents, homeopathy, massage, compression, hyperbaric oxygen chamber, and exercise. Ice cryotherapy, no reductions in DOMS. Stretching, no reductions in DOMS. NSAIDs does reduce pain, but is tough on the stomach lining, so you don't want to take non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs because they're rough on the stomach lining, and you need the mucosal barrier in the stomach to protect against the stomach lining and increased stomach acid. The NSAIDs block inflammation in response to exercise-induced muscle damage in healthy individuals, and this may interfere with functional recovery and adaptive processes in muscles, so you do need some inflammation in order to heal. Ultrasound failed to reduce DOMS. Electrical currents and TENS, positive placebo but failed to reduce DOMS. Homeopathy, no reduction in DOMS. Massage, no increased. Okay, post-exercise cooling and heating on recovery. There's no benefits to cooling observed during 24 to 72 hours following resistance or endurance training. Studies indicate that chronic cooling doesn't affect endurance training adaptations. There's no effect of cold water immersion, for the most promise being that the use of hot water immersion as a recovery intervention following endurance and strength training and sprint exercises is the best way to reduce DOMS. So moist heat had a similar effect to dry heat in some cases, and it enhances the benefits of reducing DOMS with only 25% of the time of application of the moist heat to dry heat. So heat is better than cold water immersion. Sleep. Additional sleep obviously helps muscle regeneration after injury. Napping can help reduce pain sensitivity. There's a catch-22 between sleep and pain. Pain disrupts sleep, and sleep disruption increases pain, so it creates a vicious circle. But sleep is an important aspect of recovery. The interesting thing is that sleep affects the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis and the sympathetic nervous system. It has a feedback loop where the hypothalamus detects stress. It releases a hormone called corticotropin, releasing hormone into the bloodstream. The pituitary gland, they sit on the kidneys. In response to the corticotropin releasing hormone, they release other hormones called adrenocorticotropic hormone into the bloodstream. The pituitary gland, is in the brain. The adrenal glands, which are on the kidneys, in response to the adrenocorticotropic hormone, they reduce adrenal gland cortisol, which is crucial stress hormone. So there's concerns of excessive cortisol. It suppresses the immune function, weakens the immune system, it impairs glucose regulation, causes imbalances in blood glucose regulation, and potentially contributes to insulin resistance and increased risk of type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease, hypertension.